is probably not always apparent, but it is tonight. We're going to let Michelle go first.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Michelle Hubert, and I was born and raised in Great Barrington, and more specifically Housatonic. My dad was born in Great Barrington. His family just came over from Sicily, and luckily he was born here. My mom is Housatonic through and through, so there were a lot of discussions in the household, Great Barrington or Housatonic. I'm one of 8 children. Many of us stayed in Great Barrington. We all went to the local schools, as did my parents. Recently, my husband and I were moving into the homestead on Division Street. And what was funny was, as you normally do with your spouse, you go, honey, you got to get rid of some of the stuff. Why aren't you getting rid of the stuff? And my husband went, come here for a minute. And we had shelves. He said, look at this. And on the shelves, it was Great Barrington Issues, 2010. Berkshire Hills Regional School District Issues, 2010. Great Barrington Issues, 2011. Berkshire Hills Regional School Districts Issues, 2011. School Renovation Project, number 1, School Renovation Project number 2. So I've been going to meetings for years and years. I'm also very involved in the community. Right now I'm volunteering at the Ramsdell Library. And as some of you may know, I did a successful program in October, Halloween in Housatonic, and it was a big hit. So I love giving back to my community. And as I mentioned, I attend many, many meetings. My only frustration is sometimes they conflict with one another, but I think it's time that I now move from the audience to behind the table, and I would really appreciate your vote.
Hi, everybody knows me as Buddy. My name is Walter Edward. I was born in town. My family goes back here before it was a town. I was educated at Searles High School. I'm a graduate of Salem State College. I worked for Berkshire Hills Regional for a number of years. I worked for Wheeler and Taylor for 23 years. I retired from there. I started out, my community involvement started out with the Southern Berkshire Volunteer Ambulance Squad. I was on that for 20 years, so I got too old to do too much. I was the president, I was on the board of directors, I was in the management of that. I then moved to the, while I was on the ambulance squad, we had a problem with the selectmen, so I dealt with it. And I found dealing with the selectmen was so much fun, I got on the finance committee when Proposition 2.5 came through. And it helped a lot of problems go away. I then was on the school committee for 10 years. I was past chairman of it. I've been a selectman, past chairman of the select board, and I've been on the finance committee, most likely on and off since 1980. I really enjoy living in this town. I enjoy working here, and I want to make this town better. And for the gentleman back there who was talking for the planning board, there's 29,200 acres in Great Barrington, of which 10,500 is tax-free. There are 9,500 acres in Great Barrington that are either chapter land or they're APR. They pay about 25 cents on the dollar. Well, that leaves roughly 34% of the town to pay the tax bills here. That's why the planning board's important. That's why every board's important. Willing to take any questions. Thank you.
Like Buddy here, I have an alias, Eugene Curletti. People call me Will. I live at 119 Front Street in Housatonic, so all of us are kind of a pretty good Housatonic ties. I'm running for re-election. I've served 3 years on the finance committee. It's been extremely interesting, and I feel like I'm able to give back to the community. I graduated Monument Mountain High School. I went to college in New Hampshire at St. Anselm College. I have 3 kids. Next year I'll have one in the high school, one in the middle school, and one in the elementary school. I really look forward to doing another 3 years of work for the Finance Committee, and I hope I can get your vote. Thanks.
Before we all rush to the microphone, I want to start off the questioning here. And this is for each one of you in turn. Can you tell me what your feelings are about how the Finance Committee in Great Barrington, but all of them in the rest of the school district, should interact with the Regional School Committee?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably one of the biggest questions we have as to town finances. Obviously, most of us are unhappy with the way that our assessment of the school budget is valued. We would hope that, and it seems like there are inroads to changing that in the near future. Well, hopefully in the near future. But this is one of the questions that we had to deal with this year. Jennifer came back to us with a reasonable budget, and because we knew we were up against a significant school assessment, we had to take a position of relative austerity and make some more cuts, ask for some more cuts, most of which the town agreed with, some of which we would respectfully defer to the will of the town, and but that's going to be a very important part of the work we have to do in the next 3 years.
Buddy?
Where do you want me to start? First of all, having been on the school committee, having been working at the high school, I have a lot of respect for the organization up there. There are some problems, and one of the problems is that Great Barrington has actually 33% of the vote when it comes to that. We pay 73% of the bills. There is a thing called one man, one vote. I don't know where it is. We all elect all the select board together, but when it comes time for the budget to be voted, maybe it's a better process to have the budget be the total in Great Barrington, the total in Stockbridge, and total in West Stockbridge. That would be one man, one vote, not two towns telling one town what to do. That's number one. All right? Number two, dealing with the school district. It cost us $16 million, and this year alone, we're paying $22,260 for a student at the high school. Now, that would put a kid through a state college, no problem at all. But that's the cost of our first grade student, never mind our 12th grade student.
Michelle?
And I'm standing here listening to this, and as I've said, I've gone to meetings after meetings, and you could just rewound a tape, and you hear this every year at budget season. It's the school's fault, this is what's going on. My observation is this. I'm not serving on any official committee at this time. I'm a taxpayer, and I try to go to as many finance committee meetings at the Berkshire Hills Regional School District. Then I flip and go to the same meetings in the town of Great Barrington. It seems to me a little odd that I know legally the Regional School District is separate from the town of Great Barrington. But when it comes to budget time, the taxpayer gets sandwiched in the middle and crushed. So I think there needs to be more communication by both Berkshire Hills Regional School District and the town as to what is going on. If that means that finance committee members from the town need to go to meetings at Berkshire Hills Regional School District and vice versa, as citizens, not as anything else, but just to learn what's going on firsthand. I have often said the discussion at the tables where the information really comes from. To credit our media, it's great, but boy, you wouldn't believe what you miss when you're not in the room listening to the conversation that's going on. So I would like to see increased interaction between the two, and many of the budget drivers are due to state mandates, which is very, very difficult. So we need to look at that. And also, again, I think citizens need to participate more in the process. I'm really pleased to see what's going on here tonight. But seeing the citizens at annual town meeting, when I didn't see many familiar faces earlier on in the budget process, was a little frustrating for me. So I think it's not all about the finance committee, it's not all about the select board, it's not all about the school committee. I think citizens have to take a more active role in the decision making that's going on, and not only at annual town meeting.
Can I add something there? For the last 10 years, when I've been on the finance committee, there's always been one person who's been designated as to go to the Berkshire Hills Regional School Committee. That was Ann Dwyer this year. We've always had people up there. As a matter of fact, a number of years ago, we had a very qualified person up there from New York City who ran a small high school, a small elementary school in New York City. She had 3,500 students, she had 300 staff, and she went up there and she made suggestions for schools. So there's been a lot of input into the school. The school has their own problems, like the town does. And we just have to get together and most likely meld them together. What happens is we just need our legitimate voting rights.
Pat?
The budget's too high. And why aren't we subcontracting services in the town, for example, cleaning? We're paying close to $400,000 to clean offices and buildings. We're paying a lot of money to mow grass. We just bought 2 pieces of equipment that are very expensive. If we did this, we'd probably save ourselves a fortune. Another thing is, why aren't we using dispatch out of the sheriff's department? And why aren't we closing down the one in Barrington and saving ourselves some money? There's no excuse for Barrington not to save $1 million.
From what we've understood in the reports we've been given and listening to the advice of the department heads, that shared service of dispatch is at best unlikely and at worst impossible. And this is the information that we've been given, and so this question comes up at almost every budget season. It's something that I know that at least Buddy and I have looked at many times, and just on the basis of the information we've been given, it seems unlikely that could happen. Now, to the shared services of cleaning for municipal buildings, I think that that's a relatively good thing to look at and should be probably examined for sure.
Now, the Finance Committee, we meet and we make recommendations. The only people that we're responsible to deal with is the town meeting. Right? That's the administration of the town where those questions should be asked. There's a lot of union contractors in town, a lot of union employees, and that has always been a stumbling block.
They have to start somewhere. And right now,
No
we're
problem.
losing, right now, every year the budget goes up, and there's no stopping it. We have to do something different. We have to think outside the box. It's not being done.
Can I address the subcontract?
Michelle, can you-
Yeah, definitely. There is a value to subcontracting, but I also want to stress maintaining a quality level. And I tend to think when the town is accountable for the employees doing the job and their performance, we tend to see better quality. I've worked for an entity that does do some subcontracting, and it's not always the best. So I think there's pros and cons to both, but we should be very judicious on who we subcontract out to.
Well, the value in subcontracting is most likely down the road value, because that means that when people will not be retiring from the town, that they will be working for some other entity, they'll be on Social Security. As everybody's aware, if you're a town employee, is that you have a self-generating retirement fund. A certain part of your salary, your 11%, goes to pay for yourself and those people that are presently retired. It works the same Ponzi scheme that they have for Social Security.
Other questions? Wow, you guys are getting off easy.
Oh, come on, Paul, ask us a question. We always debated
And
things
maybe
anyway.
just
Yes?
I just want to say, if I am elected to the Finance Committee and someone isn't happy with my math, this is the guy who taught me accounting in high school. And I have more gray hair.
And I wasn't responsible for the town accountant.
Guys, thanks everyone.